I'm K Presto. This is my silly, bouncy, scratchy, screamy version of Hunter Schafer by DAMAG3.
Hunter Schafer.
I have a degree in computer science and digital audio, so I do more like techie, like sound design stuff, but I am at heart a musician, and so I love to apply my technical skills to make crazy sounds. I use Ableton Live 12. I think it's just really nice for my needs for like time stretching and like the built-in plugins and all that stuff. It does the job very well. I don't think I approach remixing the same way that many people do. I like to listen to the stems in isolation without too much familiarity with the original song, and then I come up with what I can without directly referencing the original song. Going through the track, listening to the parts in isolation helps me view it with a new perspective. I need to wipe my mind of everything to do with the original composition and come up with something new with whatever the vocals inspire me to do or whatever. And then what I'll do is I will put all those original stems into a folder in the project, and then I will just go through it with a more of a sampling mindset. I'll drop in a random part of the song and I'll be like, I like how the bass sounds there. And I'll chop that up, I'll put it somewhere else. I love the drums in the original. They're so dry, and I like that. That was an interesting challenge for me because, you know, normally I do process my drums a lot, but these were just so clean and snappy. The original drums are like this. Like, they're simple. It's like just straight up like drum machine sounds. So I kept them pretty much the same. I did compress the kick a little more to make it a little more punchy because I liked that snappiness, but I wanted to bring it in a little bit more. And I did vary the rhythm a little bit. I wanted to keep the same energy as the original, but I just wanted to spice it up a little bit, give some more interest because I don't want it to sound too much like the original. The vocal, similar idea. The vocal is just good. I do have a pitch shifter come in sometimes in these little inserts to make it a little bit more alien, but then it's bring it back, make it a little bit like, whoa, weird alien EDM sounds, but then just damage. I liked that bass. That was something that had always interested me about the original song anyway. I just like that big, deep, rum, boom, boom, boom bass. This guy. As you can see, I just straight up just put that in my remix in a couple moments. And then I bring in my version. Ooh. I had made my own version of that bass that is a little thicker, a little beefier, and I played more into the spaciousness of that bass because that is what enticed me about it, is it feels like cavernous. And then I made my remixed version of that bass where I played more into the spaciousness of it. It's this track right here, OG but thick, that runs through my fat rack. As many EDM producers do, I have a fat rack of plugins that I've curated to beef up a sound. And it's just so nice to just drag and drop and just get something more in my style. I layer that with this like whiny sound, and that's what I use for the dead. I thought that was pretty fun. There were a couple that I didn't use quite as much. The chops, the Vox chops, they're cool and they are one of the defining features of the original beat. This guy, you know, the classic. But that's why I chose to override them with my own version. So it becomes a thinner textural tonal element in the song rather than like an actual lead part of the style. And that just made sense, especially with all the other things that I was layering in here. I didn't want that to take the front of the stage. The element of this track that I hyperfixated on the most was the big stanky bass. I put a lot of time into making that fill basically the whole track because it carries the drop. Sure, there's all these like little inserts and stuff, and those are what make it fun and spicy, but the big stinker, this guy, like that's the song. That's the whole song right there. And Damage. I mean, she's also on the song, but you know. What causes that hyperfixation is just such a perfectionist. I get so fixated on an idea of how it should sound, and I will spend hours and hours and hours getting to that sound. So the core of this is Vital. I use Vital for everything. I even use it for my drums often because it's free and it's really good. Like I have Massive. I haven't even bought Serum. I don't think I need Serum. Serum 2 has some cool features, but Vital does pretty much everything that Serum 1 does, and that's good enough for most of what I do. So it's, as with many like dubsteppy sounds, it's just some sines and saws. There's not too much to the core of it. Bit of the distortion and the multiband compression, it's like an OTT preset that's built in here. I think they're pretty good. It just helps like beef things up as like sort of a pre-gain before it gets into the big stinky stuff. What gives this bass a lot of its character is these delays that I have in here. Initially, it's just this. Just like, yeah, sure, that's just some filtered saw waves. Totally, dude. Then I throw on a delay. I double it up with a higher octave. Flanger. Izotope trash. Let's talk about that one. You get this multi-band layout where you can just draw in the saturation curves, which is so nice. It's so intuitive to me. Like I just had this little spike in the bass, and that gives it that little grit on the attack in the release, but not on the peak, which is a nice little bit of like character that helps with like the enunciation of a bass. You can just give it a nice saturation, but also a phase inversion in the mids, which adds some interesting like conflict among the different ranges. And then just a sharp ramp on the highs. And again, that gives that articulation, that like fizz every now and then. So throw that in. I'll do a breakdown of my fat rack sometime. But yeah, that's my little secret sauce right there for sure. That's the gist of it. A couple EQs, just trying to carve and shape things. A little bit of imaging control here, just because I want to make sure that the basses stay centered so they're clean on club systems, but there's some nice width for the headphone users there. Two main categories here. I have them, the sussies and the little bits. The ones are all the sustained sounds. And little bits is going to be more of like the little inserts that are so characteristic of these drops. That kind of stuff. Just all the weird little sounds that I chop up. There's a lot of vocal layers in here. Damage, who you may know of. And then I have a bunch of little Hunter Schafer bits in here. You know, the intro. This guy. Oh yeah, there's also some little samples from Euphoria.
Are you gay? Well, I don't think of it that way.
Have these guys, which is just Hunter Schafer talking, but I did stuff to it. That was intentionally recorded with me like super close to the mic, and then it's EQ'd and compressed and widened in such a way that it sounds like in your head. I do a lot of fucking around and finding out, especially when I'm remixing, because I challenge myself to use as much of the original material as I can, but also give it its own flavor. So that looks like a lot of pitch shifting, stretching, and crazy effects. I got this bio, that's what I call it. That's just, I believe, a breath from the original vocal sample. I just have one little moment where Damage just takes a deep breath or something, and I was like, you know, I like the harmonics in that, I'm gonna throw a bunch of crazy effects on it. I've been so fond of vocoders lately for spectral compression or spectral expansion. So I have been really having fun exploring that, where I find something where I'm like, I like the harmonics in here. I want to discard what actually makes that sound so obviously like a breath or whatever, and just pick out those key harmonics that make it more musically interesting and reuse that. The most challenging part of this remix is that I've never made rhythm before. I tried a whole new genre with this rather tight deadline. I was just like, fuck it. I've got nothing to do. I'm gonna just hyper focus this for a while, try a whole new genre. It's kind of hard because it's gotta be really loud, but you also want a clean mix, especially with my production style where it's very layered, a lot of complex textures and like little references and things. It was really hard to make that fit into a rhythm format and sound clean. So I did a lot of work on the mix here. Like I wrote the song in like 2 days, I want to say. Like I did the production all in 2 days, but the mix, that was the whole rest of the time. That was like, 5 days because I was doing this on a little fun speed run, but that was like so much testing on my phone, testing on a Bluetooth speaker, testing in the car, testing in someone else's car, testing on a speaker in my bathroom or a speaker in my kitchen, because it was so important, especially with the vocals. Vocals in rhythm was a crazy thing to do. I don't know how other people do it because you want the vocals to be upfront and audible, but there's also these big, loud, crazy sounds going on in the background. And like, that was just really hard. I did a lot of clever sidechaining, EQing, a little bit of unmasking using an Izotope thing. I'm K Presto. This is my silly, bouncy, scratchy, screamy version of Hunter Schafer by Damage. If you like my weird sounds, you can find me as K Presto on all services and stuff. I make a lot of cool original music that's kind of like this, but also very different. You should check it out so you know what I mean by that.